If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and another tutorial. Now this tutorial is a little different than my other tutorials as it's not of a bag. Today I'm going to sew along with you one of these. Check it out. This is a scrappy jelly roll rug. So I did not use a jelly roll on this. I made my own out of my scrap fabrics. I mimicked a jelly roll. This is the large rug. So this is by RJ Designs. Thank you so much, Roma, for allowing me to make this tutorial. This was so very much fun and a really nice break from bag making. Now you can see the large one. I mean, I'm 5'2". I have it right at my feet. I could just barely peek over it. It is a big rug. I've actually already had this out. Coco and Dexter love it. I mean, it's supposed to be my rug, but they are lying on it and they love it. So much fun. Now, what's fun about this is the fabrics in this absolutely do not make sense at all. I've got avocados, I've got pugs, I've got kitties, I've got airplanes. I just took it all out of my scrap bin and did it. So if you are doing yours from your, like, not from a prefabbed jelly roll, try to look past what the print is and see what the color is and how you think they will all go together. We'll talk about that further on in this video. Anyways, what you need in this, again, you need a jelly roll or equivalent, which are 42-inch strips. You need batting, which you can cut yourself to 2.5 or 2 1/4. I actually went with a 2 1/4 inch batting. I found it easier to fold in and make the bias rope with that, but both are good. Bossil has a pre-made roll, and I will show you that later on in the video because I've already put it into this rug. I actually got mine off Amazon. It was a little bit cheaper, and they were 2 1/4, and they turned out just as good. They weren't Bossil; they were just kind of an off-brand Amazon brand, but I'm happy with it for the rug. You need a machine that can handle a little bit of thickness. I did this on my Elna 680. Yes, I pulled out my domestic machine. She has been neglected for probably 5 years, but I pulled her out. I put on her walking foot, and you have to have a zigzag stitch, straight stitch and a zigzag stitch to do this. Now, as we go on, there are a few things that I will mention as we're going through the construction of this that I cannot tell you or show you how it's done. You have to buy the pattern for that. We need to support the designer, and she's got these little secret tips in the pattern that help you get around those corners without it bowling up, how to get it started, and how to get the rug to be the size that you want. I cannot share any of those numbers with you or those techniques, but I will tell you that when we get into the video. I do show you the basics of how to do it. Once you get it going, it's the same the rest of the way around. So I really do hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up if you do. Leave your comments down below. Let me know if you are going to be making a jelly rug. I'm very curious to see what your rugs look like. I love, 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 love just the scrappy look of this one. But I mean, with the curated jelly roll where the colors are made to go perfectly, could be absolutely amazing too. There's so much you can do with this. Yeah, the link to where you can buy the pattern is down below in the description. And again, thank you so much, Roma, for allowing me to make this video. And how about we get to making this? All right, so doing this tutorial is so different setup compared to doing a bag making tutorial. This is going to be so much fun. I hope you guys are going to enjoy this. So I have pulled out my good old Elna Excellent 680. I swear she has been neglected for so long since I switched my industrials and bag making. So it's kind of fun to be making friends with her again. All right, so as I said in the introduction, you need a jelly roll or you need a certain number of 2.5-inch strips like I have done here. I just went in my stash and cut out enough strips to do the large oval rug. All of that is in the pattern. Just go check it out. It'll tell you how much to do. So I've chosen 20 different fabrics and I have them laid out lightest to darkest. I think that is going to be really pretty for the rug. Again, this is my first rug. I'm super excited to be doing this and doing it with all of you. So the lightest side, that is going to be the inside center of my rug. working out to the exterior, which is darker. So make sure you have all your strips situated in the order you want them to appear in your rug. So the first thing to do is to take these many strips, and we need to make them into one long strip. So it's just like making bias binding. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that first strip and you're going to lay it right side up on your machine bed. You will find that if you have an extension table, do put it on the machine. You will need it. We are actually going to be building this table up a little bit later on, just so we have more space to work with, as my machine is not a sunken in machine. All right, anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I have my first strip right side up. I'm going to take my second strip and I'm going to put it right sides together. And I'm actually going to line up where my salvages are here. And then we have them kind of, I think this is called perpendicular to one another. And we are going to sew from this inside corner all the way to the outside corner. And what that is going to do is, once this is sewn, that is going to give us a diagonal, and it's going to make it all one piece like that. So we're going to do that, and we are going to keep doing that as we go. We're going to chain stitch all of these, and then we are going to put them, then we'll cut them apart, and I'll show you that next step. So I'll do the first few of these on camera, and then we'll go into some fast motion, and then I'll finish the rest of the strips off camera. Okay, I think this is a good angle. I have to stand up to do this because I have this at my cutting table. I don't have a desk for my domestic machines, so and I need a wide table here. Okay, so as I said, I put them perpendicular, right sides together. And we're going to sew from that corner all the way down to this corner down here. The selvages help because it kind of gives you an idea of where you are going to be sewing. Okay, so that's one corner. So now I'm going to take this one that is wrong side up and make sure it doesn't twist. I'm just going to kind of fold it on itself and bring it right side up. I'm going to grab my next strip, put it right sides together, match it up again. I'm kind of lining up with the salvages like so, and doing the same thing. And I'm just going to chain stitch them and then cut them apart later. Okay, so that one's done. I'm going to take the other end, bring it around, make sure it's not twisted, bring it right side up, grab my next strip, and do the same thing. Lots of prep work in this, but I think it's going to be really worth it. This is going to be a lot of fun. And again, take this one, find the other side, make sure it's not twisted, right side up, and grab my next strip. Right sides together, line up those salvages, and diagonal stitch. And again, I'll do it a couple more times, and then I will put it into fast motion so you can see me doing a few of them in fast speed, and then I'll go off camera and finish up the rest, because I don't think you need to watch me doing all these strips. As said, I'm doing the large oval rug. I may be being a little too adventurous for my first time, but I'm excited to do it. So why not go all in, right? around, make sure it's not twisted. And one thing to think of when you're looking at this and you're seeing the prints of the fabric, try to look past the prints and look at the colors, because as these become a tube, that print is not going to matter so much, I don't think. You'll see why here. Like this is a floral and my next one is actually pug dogs. So, but it was the colors I'm looking at. And I'm just trying to destash. All of this is destashing from bag linings and everything. If you have like a quarter yard or so left, it's perfect for that. So see, pugs. But the colors are perfect to match this. So that's what you got to look at. All right, so I'm going to put the camera into fast motion while I do a few more of these, and then I'm going to finish the rest off camera. Okay, so now what we're going to do, again, it's more prep. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just start making sure there's no wrinkles in these as I go. When we get to where we have a join right here, we're going to cut off from our chaining, and then we're going to trim by about a quarter inch or so from the stitching into this excess part here. I'm actually just going to eyeball it. My rotary cutter, and eyeball it. You can cut off any wings that there may be. So again, I'm going to iron, get rid of any creases, You can use best press as well if you wanted to. And then when we get to the seam, we're going to open up that seam and we're going to press it open. And I'm going to keep on going with that. Get rid of any creases. And what I'm going to do on this opposite side is I'm just going to start fan folding it like so, kind of just in and on itself. And that is just going to help us keep it in a nice working neat pile. Okay, here's another seam here. I'm going to cut it apart. Cut off any wings. Press that seam open. And add it to our folding here. See, there's another seam there. You could also just go ahead and do this all at, like, do all the seam cutting and everything at the same time. I just think as we're going through this, it's just a lot easier to do it all at the same time. But what do I know? This is my first time making this. It seems to be what I think will work in my head. And I've watched a couple tutorials on it myself. And so I'm hoping that this works good. It's all about keeping good control of all of these strips once they're sewn together. Okay, so you'll just continue doing that all the way to the end. Cut it apart. Cut your seam allowance out of the way. Cut off any wings. And sew that seam open, or press that seam open. So it'd be a lot easier at a sewing station or at a pressing station as well. I just brought it over here so I can put it on camera for everybody to see. So another join, my chain stitch. You definitely want to open up these seams because it is going to get kind of bulky when we go to do those tubes. So you want to distribute the bulk as even as possible for your machine. I would love it if my industrial machine had a zigzag stitch, which is the main stitch in this pattern, but alas, it does not. So okay, so we're going to just continue on. I'm going to put in fast motion as I work through this.
Okay, so it looks like we're right back to where we started. This is our big, long, whoops, piece. Everything is still kept in order from how I want it to appear in the rug. So on my top here is my darkest colors, which I want to be the outside of my rug. So in the pattern, it has you go to the next step, which is putting these to the batting. Watching the YouTube tutorials on YouTube, a couple did an amazing thing, which I'm going to take the extra step and do as well. So to do this extra step, you need a paper towel holder. And then you need, what is this called? I think this was a 1.5-inch PVC. I want to say it's called a coupler or something. Anyways, it looks like this, or a joint. I don't remember what it's called. PVC. It's for plumbing. Anyways, what we're going to do is I'm actually, and you don't have to do this, you can definitely just keep it like this, keeping in mind that we want to work with the exterior or the outside fabric first. So when we go to add on the batting, you will be adding it to the ones you want to be on the outside first. Now for me, I want to put this on to this PVC joint from the inside out. And what's it's going to do is once I have it all wrapped around, it's going to give me a kind of a sneak peek of what the rug will look like. I mean, these are such random fabrics, you just don't know. And if there's a color placement there that we don't like, we can always go in and take it out and move it around or what have you. So in order to put it on this, I want to work with this side, which is my lining or my inside parts. So the center of the rug. The center of the rug is what will be kind of the focal point, but I think it looks like it's really good to go light to dark, but you can really do anything you want. So what I'm going to do is, again, I've never done this before, so I'm going to make sure my pile doesn't fall down. I'm going to start with my inside fabric. I want to make sure it's not twisted. And I'm going to start wrapping it onto this PVC pipe, just like this. And then we'll be able to put it on that paper towel holder, and it'll just help roll along easy when we're attaching it to the batting. Now, you can definitely take your fat and folded stuff, put it on your lap, and just work from there. That'll keep it going just as good as well. But I don't know. I saw this on a YouTube. I wish I could remember the YouTuber's name. It might have been Mateo. I don't remember. But I just think it's such a great idea. So we're going to do that. It's an extra step. It's going to take a little time, but it's also going to give us that sneak peek of what our fabrics are going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to continue rolling this. I will put it in fast motion, and then we will come back and start doing the adding in our batting. All right, I am so glad I did this. Look how amazing. I am so pleased with how the color placement and everything is going to work its way out. And this is where I'm saying, don't, like, this is avocados on my outside fabric. We're not going to see that too much when it's all rolled out. But when you do this, and the YouTuber that calls us, I'm pretty sure her name was Mateo. She calls this a cinnamon bun. It is just such a great idea to kind of get an idea if your layout of fabrics is right. And I think mine are perfect. Then all you do is take your paper towel roll. You want it to be quite heavy. And then we can just work when we're adding this to our interfacing. I'll kind of show you what we're going to do here. So this will be going out like so. And this is my batting. Now, they recommend using Bustle. I did not have any in my area. I'm hoping this is good enough as well. I just got this on Amazon. It's a little bit smaller than what the pattern calls for. It's only 2 1/4, but I honestly think it's not going to matter too much. So what I'm going to get everybody to do, because I cannot show you this part, there are certain parts of the pattern that the designer has asked all YouTubers not to share, just because that is the magic of how to make it all come together, is these few little tips. And we really want to support this designer so she comes out with more patterns, and we want to really support her work. So what you're going to do now, so this is the exterior fabric. That's the first one we're going to be working with. You're going to take your roll of batting and kind of put it beside. So I kind of have it side by side here. We're going to lay this in. And yeah, mine is a little bit shorter, but that's okay. And the way this is going to work is you're going to lay your batting in. And we're going to end up folding into the middles like so. There's a couple different ways you can do this. And once you have it into the middle, it's just like making a bias tape, or if you're a bag maker like me, exactly how we make handles, the exact same process. So fold it into the middle and then fold it on, and you can go ahead and you can clip that. You're going to prepare this end. So this is the end for finishing the rug. There is certain places in the pattern, I can tell you which page it is on, that you will have to prepare this end slightly different than the rest of the pattern. And you will see that on page, the numbers, they're not really numbered. It's on the section that says make the fabric and the batting tube. And she shows you right in the very, very first part, what you need to do in order to prepare that. So you're going to go ahead and do that. And then we'll come back, and there's, again, different ways you can do this. You can definitely fold these in and then clip a bunch of these edges together once we get going. I bought one of these, which I might try to use. It's from the Gypsy Quilter, and it's a jelly roll tube maker. So I'm going to practice with that before I show it on camera, and then I will decide which way I am going to do it. But yeah, we're pretty much going to clip all this or use a tube maker, and then we are going to end up sewing as close as we can to, so probably about 1/4 inch or so in from the double fold line here. And that's going to secure all of that in place to start making our tube. And then we will roll that into almost what looks like a yarn ball. So everybody go ahead and, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to prepare the end of this outside part as per the pattern, and then we'll come back and we'll start making our tubes. All right, so I've gone ahead and I started that end, that tapered end that I couldn't show you, but definitely make sure you look at the pattern and do that on your own. I'm definitely going to be using this bias tape maker. It is going to help so much. I have an all handy, and that's just to make sure all of those layers are all tucked in, because again, you can go ahead and you can fold and clip and do a bunch clipped, and then sew and then clip or what have you. But I'm going to use this, and I'm just going to go as I go. Got my big roll here, I have my cinnamon bun roll here, and I'm just going to see how this pulls it, and it folds it in half for me, and then all I have to do is fold it in half again. And I want to make sure all the layers are tucked in there. That's where the awl comes in handy. And tuck it all in, fold it so this double fold edge is nice and even. Do that for a few inches. Very important that all those raw edges are enclosed and sewn into that seam. We do not want any raw edges exposed. So Dexter and Coco say hi. You probably heard them in the background. And then I'm going with 1/4 inch seam allowance. There are different ways you can do it. You can go 1/8 inch.
You can go to 1/4 of an inch, or you can go right down the middle. Now, the closer the seam allowance is to the double fold, the more puffy the rug is going to be. If you go down the middle, you have to really be sure that you're catching all of those raw ends in there so they're not going to be poking out. 1/4 inch, then it's going to be a lot flatter and a lot denser. 1/4 of an inch, I think, is a happy medium. So that's what I'm going with for my first one. And we're just going to do this all. We're going to do this for a little bit. And then I'm going to show you how to start rolling the tube ball at the same time. So let's go. You may want to get a walking foot for this. My machine seems to be okay with this batting. So I'm going to pull it a little bit, tuck everything under. Make sure everything is under good. Run your finger under, fold over. Make sure that your jelly roll is kind of staying where it should, or not that your jelly roll, your batting into the middle and under. I've pulled my bias tape maker out too far, but that's okay. I can do it by hand here. This feels like it will be something that as we get into the swing of it, it'll get easier and easier. Again, fold under your edges. Oh my goodness, Coco says hi to everybody. Again, you can definitely go ahead and clip and everything beforehand as well. Completely up to you. Into the middle. Make sure it's all caught and fold over. Okay, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to put it into fast motion and go a little ways more, and then I'll show you how to prepare at the same time our tube yarn ball. Well, it's not yarn, but you know what I mean. Almost like a yarn ball. Okay, another handy tip. Put the batting on the paper towel holder as well, just on top of it. It keeps everything so nice and neat. So I still have my tubing in my machine. It's still attached, but I want to deal with this. So you can go ahead and sew all of your tubing at once, but I'm going to roll this into a ball as we go, so it doesn't end up being one tangled up mess here. So I have the very end. This is what's going to be on the outside of our rug. As I'm rolling, I'm going to just be double checking in this double fold to make sure everything was caught. Now, when we're rolling this, it's just like when you're doing a yarn ball. That's what we're working on here. You want to make sure the tubing doesn't get twisted like this in the ball. You want it to lie nice and flat, all going the same way. So I'm going to wrap it around my hand a few times.
Again, double checking that double fold as I go, untwisting it if need be, because it wants to twist. Once you get it wrapped around a couple times, go ahead and take your hand out and then start wrapping in a different direction. Again, making sure it's not twisted. A little hard to get started at first. Once you get going, it's fine. So again, this is what's going to be on the exterior, on the outside perimeter of the rug. That's why we wanted to start with the outside part before rolling it, because we want the middle of our ball to be the last thing we're sewing, because we're going to start sewing with the inside, the lighter side of my fabric here. So again, keep rolling, keep rolling. Again, making sure it's not twisted, double checking that double fold. You want to definitely make sure there's no raw edges popping through there. That would make you sad. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to keep sewing more tube, and it's just rinse and repeat until you're done all of your fabric into one long tube. Okay, so I'm going to put this into fast motion and continue.
All right, so this is my giant ball of tubing done. So what you should have for your loose end is the part that's going to be in the middle of your rug. Before we get more into that, I want to explain what I have going on here. You're going to see I've pulled out my whole Friends DVD collection, and I have board games underneath. And what I'm doing is, so your rug is lying nice and flat while you're sewing it. You want to extend your table the best you can. Now I have this little extension table, but I want it to be even more. Would be amazing if I had an inset table for this machine, but I do not. But this will do the trick, and that's just to help apparently keep the waving and stuff away, because as we're working, it'll keep it somewhat flat as we go. So make the table as big as you can. Other things I've done to prep is after doing all of that tubing in this ball, there was a ton of fluff and everything inside the machine. So I did a little mini service on the machine and cleaned that all out. I've put on my walking foot and I put on a brand new denim needle. Now I have set my machine to a zigzag stitch. I've done mine at 5.5 zigzag by 2 stitch length. There are suggestions in the pattern to do there. Now, rather than choosing the zigzag that goes like this, I chose the zigzag stitch that goes, if that makes sense. For me, I think that's going to look really nice, and I just think I think it's just going to help have a lot less skip stitches as we go through those thicknesses, in my opinion. Now, I also did a scrap swatch with my zigzag stitches to make sure I can get through you can't really see it, make sure I can get through all of the thicknesses there. This is the zigzag stitch I decided to go with. Yeah, because I want to make sure that it would catch it, especially at that point, and not skip that stitch. And I found if I went too fast, it would skip the stitch. So I'm going at a moderate speed. I've set it to a moderate speed. What else? What else? I think that is everything. So the big ball, I do have a basket down at my feet here, which I'm going to place the ball in so it's not going to be rolling around. You hear Dexter digging. I apologize for that. And we want to make sure as we're working with our ball that it's not twisting at all. I'm going to put it just down on my thing. I'm going to grab my end. Again, this is the inside of the rug. And I've already gone ahead because I can't share it. And I've made my mark on one of these sides, making sure it's not twisted. I don't want it to be twisted. You want to make your mark for your starting point. I can't even see my line. I'm going to remeasure it here. I cannot share what these measurements are. Mine is going to be starting right there. And then what we want to do is we want to kind of, oh, there's my line. You want to fold it so this free side is going to be on the left-hand side. That is so as we're feeding it through, we're not building into the throat of the machine, we're building onto the outside of the machine. So at that mark, depending how your starting mark is, again, she's got guidelines in the pattern. We kind of want to take this. So we've got our double fold side going to the left. We're making sure it's not twisted. And we're going to kind of fold this down upon itself, kind of like that. And the single fold and the double fold, you want to kind of have them nest into each other. Now, again, I've never ever done this. I can show you how to get this started, but I can't show you how to do the curves. You see how they kind of nest in with each other? So I'm going to get that situated. I'm going to change my camera view so you can see how I'm starting this. Then I'm going to go ahead and go around the corner, but I cannot show that on camera. That is one of her handy tricks for corners to make sure you do not get a bowl-shaped rug. So I'll show you how it gets started, and then I will go ahead and I will go around that corner and get a few of the stitches going around, and then I will show you what we're doing there. So let me change my camera view and I'll be right back. Okay, so hopefully you can see what I'm doing. So I've kind of got where they come apart and together in the center of my foot here so I can see what they're doing. I've already put my needle down and I not all the way to the back of it. I kind of started further down just so I can kind of do a couple stitch forwards, and then I'm going to go backwards as far as I can and back stitch quite a few times just to get that center nice and secure. So again, this is my first time, so we will see how this goes. So I'm going to do a couple forward, nice and slow. Make sure you're catching both sides. Hoping that my stitches don't. Okay, now I'm going to back stitch some as far as it will allow me. Making sure everything is staying together. If you're finding you're not catching all of it with your zigzag stitch, you may want to make a wider zigzag stitch, which I think I'm going to do for mine. So I'm just letting the walking foot take it all the way to that end. And it's really thick at that end. And then once you've gotten there, I'm going to actually backstitch a few times. And this thread shows too, so make sure you're using a really nice coordinating thread with it. But we just want to make sure that that beginning is really, really, really secured. I'm going to do it just one more time. Slow my speed down just a little bit more. Another back stitch. Oh, I wish I could. I wish I had a zigzag on my industrial. That would be amazing. Okay, and then once you get that nice and secure, you're going to kind of put these together, again, making sure your loose end is on the left-hand side. Otherwise, you're going to be building into your throat. We want to build out this way. So I'll do a little bit of the straight stitch with you, and then I'm going to round my corner. I cannot show you that. You need to buy the pattern to see how to do that. And then once I get past that, I can come back and we can do a little bit of fast forward sewing as we go around. Okay, so I've done a couple rounds and I know I've done it right because I don't have any bowling when it comes around these corners. So her tip in the pattern is a definite must. But look how good it looks so far. I'm glad I chose a matching thread for my first one while I get my my bearings about me. So yeah, so this is this is my third round going around so far for the center. I did find for the first couple here, I did backstitch just before going into the curves, and then kind of took it off the machine and took a peek to make sure everything was caught, and if anything wasn't, I just went back in. Now, if you do find that there is some bowling up and it's not holding its shape, mine is perfectly fine and flat. Take some Best Press starch, Mary's Ellen's Best Press starch, and give it a good press at your machine. I don't have to do that. I'm super happy. So I'm just going to continue on going around and around. The rest is, I don't know. I just find I kind of put things together and let the machine feed it through, take my corners slow, and it's going great. So I'll put it down to machine view again. I'll give you a little bit of a few pointers as we're kind of going around things, and then I'm going to put it back in fast motion and continue sewing up this run. Okay, so I think one really important thing is on your working strand, you want to make sure you're not pulling it tight, because if you pull it tight, that's going to cause everything to go wavy or whatever. Just kind of guide it. Nest the single fold with the double fold nicely together. Find the visual point on your walking foot where they're meeting to make sure you're catching everything, and just let your feed dogs and your walking foot do the work. I'm not pulling on anything. I'm just letting it feed through, making sure they're nested. I'm just kind of snuggling them up beside each other. Making sure everything's getting caught. And about every 4 inches or so, I just kind of go to the back and I just double check that everything's being caught. And it is. If it isn't, you would just backstitch and go back in and redo those ones. And you just keep doing the same thing all the way around. Again, making sure nothing is being pulled too tight. I think I'm almost out of this bobbin. I'm going to have to change that out here soon. Let's see if I can get around this corner. Again, very important not to pull anything tight, especially around these corners. I'm going to backstitch a little bit here just because. And I am out of bobbin. So I'm out of bobbin a while ago. I'm going to go out and change my bobbin, and then I'm going to put this into fast motion and continue working on this. And that's it. What did you guys think of that? Isn't it fun? This was my very first one I made. It had a little bit of waving in it because I did not ease my fabric enough around the corners like she says to do in the pattern, but I gave it a really good press with Best Press starch and a good steam, and it is great. One thing I forgot to mention is this is completely washable as well. You can throw it into the delicate cold cycle of your washing machine, hang it or lay it out to dry, and you're good to go again. You don't have to send it off anywhere to be washed like a regular rug. Anyways, if you did like this video, please do give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. Again, if you would like, check out my membership side of the channel. There may be something there that sparks your interest. And if you want to support me further, you can always buy me a coffee and go get this great pattern and support this designer. Anyways, until the next one, I'll see you guys again. Bye.